Hello, beings of light. The person who had today's near-death experience wishes to remain anonymous, so we will call them Joseph. He discovered that what he experienced was not merely a dream or hallucination, but completely real. Now let's hear Joseph's NDE. Hello, my name is Joseph, and I am happy to share my experience with you. Knowing that others have also visited the other side made me realize that my experience wasn't a dream, which was the only conclusion I had somewhat believed. I was so convinced it was just a dream that I rarely spoke about it, except with a few close friends. My experience happened shortly after I turned 30. My mother had passed away the day before, and since I had no siblings or close relatives, it was my responsibility to organize her funeral. I was completely unprepared for how stressful things suddenly became. My dear mother raised me alone, and being a single mother at that time was a significant taboo. In fact, her parents wanted her to leave even after I was born, at which point I would be put up for adoption so she could return home. It was a different time, I guess. Needless to say, she ran away and had me, got a job as a waitress, and did her best to keep me safe, clothed, and fed until I grew up. When I turned 28, she was diagnosed with cancer and died at 30. I had to learn to organize a funeral on my own, so I did that during the day and lay in bed at night, worrying about how I would pay for it all. Add a huge portion of sadness, and I was a complete mess. The night after my mother's death, I lay down to cry myself to sleep. At some point, I fell asleep in the middle of my tears, but I woke up later that night with intense chest pain. I stumbled out of bed and tried to reach the medicine cabinet in the bathroom to see if there was something to relieve the pain. I remember falling to the floor and trying to crawl back to bed, and then I lost consciousness. The next time I opened my eyes, I was floating above my body. At first, I just looked at my body lying there with a pained expression on my face. I felt no connection to that body. I wasn't sad or empathetic. I think part of me realized at that moment that the body we use while we are alive was always meant to die. It's no different from a piece of clothing we try on only to discard later when we no longer need it. Looking around, I saw a tunnel appear just above the door that led to the hallway, which would have taken me to the bathroom if I had made it that far. I don't know if I entered the tunnel or if it pulled me, but suddenly I was being taken rapidly, and the speed increased more and more. After a while, I saw other tunnels start to merge with mine, like highway entrances. From these entrances, I saw other beings like me, and I noticed that we were just orbs of bright white light, all moving in the same direction, towards a light in the distance. Suddenly, I knew all the secrets of the universe. I don't know where this knowledge came from, but now I understood advanced mathematics, advanced sciences, and all of history that ever existed. I was aware that the light was my destination, and also knew that the light was my home. It was where I had been created and from where I had departed when I chose to come to Earth, and now it was where I was returning. I was also aware that almost all the emotions I possessed on Earth had fallen away, like a snake shedding its skin. I no longer felt anger, jealousy, or animosity. I could only feel love now. Even the pain of losing my earthly mother had disappeared. When I reached the light I knew as the source, the love I felt began to fill me like a balloon, and when I thought I couldn't hold any more love, it continued to fill me. I don't know how long I stayed in the light. It could have been 5 minutes or 500 years because time no longer had meaning there. When I tried to understand why this was happening, the answer became clear to me. The light was more than the source. It was eternity, and it was infinite. And nothing that is eternal and infinite needs time. Time is just a human illusion we create for ourselves while on Earth, the only place where we are neither eternal nor infinite. I moved into the light, merging with it, and allowing more of my infinite self to become the light. I could feel millions of other orbs of light doing the same. Almost without warning, I was pulled from the light and found myself in a large, empty room, as white as could be. No shade of white on Earth compares. I saw no doors or windows, nor walls or ceilings. I couldn't tell where this room began or ended. I remember just wanting to return and reunite with the light, because the light was my home, and I wanted to go back home. I don't know how long I was in that room because it was another infinite space where time had no meaning. I didn't feel hunger or thirst. I was just there. I spent my time first trying to locate a wall, and then working on mathematical equations, calculating everything under the sun. Finally, an angel appeared before me. He was perhaps 3 meters tall, with broad shoulders and a loose white robe tied at the waist by a golden belt. The angel smiled at me before asking, "You again?" His simple 2-word question caught me completely off guard. "What do you mean by me again?" I asked. "You have been here once before and chose to return to Earth," he replied. Now I was really confused because I knew I had never been there before. I remember being created and signing a contract that gave me permission to go to Earth. I remember dying and being there now, but I didn't understand anything about the claim that I had been there before. "You must have chosen to forget the last time you decided to return," he stated. "If I was here before, why did I choose to return?" I asked. Souls destined for Earth are forced to forget being here the first time they choose to go because Earth is the hardest of all the universes and dimensions. If a soul opts to make a return trip because they did not accomplish what they desired, they can then retain or not the memory of being here when reunited with their body. This didn't answer my question, so I asked again, why did I choose to return? You have free will. You control where you go and why you go there. No soul is forced to leave this place, so I can't tell you what your reason was, only that you chose to go and then come back. So what will be your choice this time? The angel asked. How can I choose when I don't even know why I went the first time, let alone why I would choose to return to Earth a second time? When I said this, the angel produced the contract I had signed, which stated what my goals were while on Earth. As I examined it, I realized I hadn't completed them all. Holding that document, I vaguely remembered requesting to go to Earth and then asking to return. I simply chose to return to Earth without awareness because I thought it would be easier to accomplish the tasks I set for myself if I didn't know I was away from my true home. The only way to describe what makes a soul request to go to Earth is similar to being a soldier. Here, you don't want to go to war, but for many it's a badge of honor. Well, a life on Earth where a soul achieves its goals is like that. Anyone can enlist, but only a few select can say, I survived the hardest place they could send me. I instantly knew I wanted to try again. I wanted to return to Earth, this time with my memory of home still intact. That doesn't mean I had permission to keep the knowledge of the secrets of the universe, but I was still aware that the light existed and that I was part of it. I woke up on the floor, in a body that no longer seemed to fit right. You never realize how big your soul is until you are out of the body and then placed back into it. The chest pains had disappeared, but something worse replaced them. The sadness seemed tripled, because I not only longed for my mother to still be alive, but also for the light. I sank into a depression like I had never known. I couldn't eat, sleep, and could barely function. I don't know how long the depression lasted, but it eventually faded, and I started to think that maybe I had just dreamed everything I saw beyond. I told several friends over the years as a way to gauge their reactions, and depending on what they thought, I also leaned in that direction. Some said it was a dream, and others said I must have hit my head when I fell, causing hallucinations. Only one friend always claimed it was a near-death experience. Now I am convinced that what I saw was real, which comforts me in knowing that my mother went to a wonderful play that awaits us. I wish I had experienced a life review while I was there, because it could have been helpful to complete the tasks I set for myself. I vaguely remember what I'm trying to experience while I'm here, but these are not things I want to discuss with the world. They are obstacles I need to face and overcome alone. The conversation between the angel and me was telepathic, of course, and I think it was also paraphrased from memories that are now decades old. So take the exact words with a grain of salt. This wonderful and transformative experience makes us realize that the other side after death is real. Knowing that our loved ones are still alive comforts us. I invite you to subscribe to our channel and share this video, and perhaps share your near-death experience with us at the email provided in the description of this video. Thank you.